As David has so kindly done, the lesson for September, the theme for September is love. And I have to be completely honest with you, when I first saw that, I said, why are we celebrating love in September? Isn't that a February thing? Sue sort of looked at me funny, and I thought, I guess love could be the topic of every Sunday, right? Of course it could. So it's sort of interesting that I caught myself in the material world and what we do framework-wise with our lives and in society about, oh, February is the love. No, every day is the love day, right? Now, the monthly theme is also ensure the stewardship of our Mother Earth. So we're going to intertwine these two topics today. So I want to ask you to close your eyes for a second. And I want to ask you to focus on, where are you feeling love today? Where are all the places that you are feeling love today? All right. If you'll come back into the room, and I want you to hold that. I want to begin with, where am I feeling love today? Next weekend is my son's wedding. So for those of you that know David, he's now 6'2". And for those of you who've gone through that, you know what it's like to be, going through the seating list and thinking about your family, your friends you've known for a lifetime, bringing a new daughter-in-law into the family, yippee, and just feeling very good about that and excited about that. So love is just oozing, and it's wonderful to be able to celebrate love. So that's one place where my heart just automatically brings a very fullness of love. I also want to say my jobs bring me lots of love. I do love being the spiritual director here. I love what we have, the activity, the community, the engagement we have with one another. And as we continue to unfold in our evolution, knowing our greater truth and continuing to heal locally from the campfire and heal also globally as I talk about the Mother Earth. But many of you know that, and I just want to catch people up who didn't know this, so my other job was working for the California State University Chancellor's Office. And some of you might remember on March 1st, I was told that you can no longer telecommute, even though my job is in technology. Come on down to Long Beach by September 3rd, or find a different job. So that was a shock. Also, 12 days later, my partner broke her femur, and we were still dealing with many of the things regarding a rental in Paradise. So March was a heavy month. And I want to make sure I say to you, doing your spiritual practice while life is good is really important. Really important to build that spiritual practice as a habit and to have your faith that you can lean on. Because when you're in times of turmoil, it's difficult to then engage in your spiritual practice, although that's when you know you need it. So I just want to say I'm very grateful to have this community. I'm very grateful to have a faith and a spiritual practice that allowed me to move through this time with grace. So in April and May, I went through this appeal process, and that was really starting to hit me, grief, and ending something that you put a lot of your heart and soul in. You don't like to see it come to an end. By June, I reached back out to my Chico State community, because I had worked at Chico State for 25 years. And I'm just going to cut to the chase and say on August 19th was my first official day back at Chico State. And I am the academic technology officer there under the provost, supporting and innovating with faculty and students using technology in teaching and learning. So I get to celebrate that, and I have to say that I've been back to the campus for just a couple weeks, and the love that I feel of so many people saying, welcome home. And one person in particular said, well, their loss is our gain. So glad you're back. And it is just a very warm feeling, and my heart has expanded just by so many people circling back with me and making an effort to welcome me home. So that's where I'm feeling love. And it's nice to have these expressions in my life that remind me of, yes, love is the reason why. Love is, well, I could stop there. Love is. All the reason for us to be here, the reason why we are here and what is here, is because of love. A grand love, capital L. Now for you, I asked you to take a moment to think about how is it that you are feeling loved. And I know that when I've spoken and ministered to people in the past, that love in the English language can be, you love ice cream, you love your pets, you love your significant other. But unconditional divine love is an expansive love. And what I want to challenge you to do is reflect for yourself how that love can continue to grow and expand, going deeper and wider. Because it is infinite. And what we tend to do is we think about love, and sometimes we get into the valley or the crevices of love and how we see it as far as our experiences maybe with job and family and all of that. But unconditional divine love, keep expanding your definition and your experience of love. And that's what I'm hoping for today, that I have some seeds for you to plant in your consciousness about expanding love that moves and lives and has its being through you. You know, the earth is loving you every single moment. The earth right now gives you the air that you breathe. It gives you the food that you eat. It gives you the earth to walk on. The nature, the beauty to walk in and see. It gives you the sounds that you hear. One simple walk through Bidwell Park full of birds and squirrels chasing each other. Life is loving you. Every moment, every day. Do you feel that love? And when you walk out of this building and you look out, whether you're in nature or with people, do you realize that that is love looking back at you? There is a book of the month. Again, the Centers for Spiritual Living all together around the world are using these themes. And the book of the month is called Spiritual Ecology, The Cry of the Earth. And I haven't read the book yet, but I did a lot of research. And he also has, and I'll talk about the author in a second, he also has 10 practices to reawakening the sacred in everyday life. Llewellyn Van Lee is the author, and he is a Sufi teacher and mystic. And of course, in the science of mind, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, actually culminated truths from all religions, and without the creed and the dogma, brought it together in the times of the transcendentalists, people like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry Thoreau. And when you read the Sufi master, and I'm going to be reading some of what he wrote, you know, the Sufis focus on love, and you can feel it in the way that he expresses. one of the things, the concepts that he basically says is right now we have sort of an artificial divide in our mind between nature and humans. Nature is humans. Humans are nature. But we've tended to divide the earth in many different ways, separating it from ourselves. But when you think about it, there is a life of a river, life of a forest, the life of the animals. And that all works together as one. Llewellyn has a website called workingwithoneness.org, some beautiful articles. And he talks about reconnecting with the earth, yes, as recognizing that we are one. We are a part of this global life system. There is no separation. And he sees that as very important. He says, if I have learned anything after a half a century of spiritual practice, it is the power of love. And at this time of ecological crisis, as we are tearing apart the fragile web of life, there is a vital need for us to love the earth, to bring her into our hearts and prayers. We have a spiritual as well as a physical responsibility for our common home. And she is calling out to us, crying for our help and healing. No one needs to be reminded about the hurricane at the moment, right? And that's part of what we're going to do our healing meditation around. Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Buddhist monk, real change will only happen when we fall in love with our planet. Only love can show us how to live in harmony with nature and with each other and save us from the devastating effects of environmental destruction and climate change. Love can open us into deep participation in life as a whole. It can teach us once again how to listen to life. Feel life's heartbeat. Sense its soul. Love can open us up to the sacred within us all, the sacredness within all of creation, and can reconnect us with our primal knowing that the divine is present in everything. In every breath, in every stone, in every animate and inanimate thing. In the oneness of love, everything is included and everything is sacred. Now that is true all of the time, even when we're not aware of it. So, for a spiritual practice, yes, I know meditation is difficult. It doesn't have to be. We tend to, in our minds, make it difficult. But the very breath is a sacred moment. And whether you're waiting in line or whether you're waking up in the morning, the awareness of that breath, of the life that is sacred, living in you, as you, and supporting you, that is a spiritual practice. Has anybody read Lynn MacTaggart's The Power of Eight? Okay, one person. So, Lynn is a scientist who writes, she's actually called the Malcolm Gladwell of New Science. She's an expert on the science of spirituality. And she reveals her remarkable findings from 10 years of experience designed to discover how group intention can heal our lives and change the world for the better. Now, Dr. Ernest Holmes, again, our founder, culminated a lot of wisdom and a lot of spiritual principles into the Science of Mind textbook. And then he created something called spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. And he created these steps to allow us to understand how we can move ourselves from step number one. What do we define as the universal source, that divine love, God, whatever you call it? And then to recognize that whatever that is, you are. And if you are that divine presence that was within you, then you have the power to change your situation, because the answers that you're looking for are already present. You just may not be open to the truth that is already there for you. And what I love about MacTaggart, of course, Dr. Ernest Holmes would be like, yeah. She's got several books. One of them is called The Intention Experiment, and she actually had people around the world focused on an intention with a photo. That intention was to see more peace in a particular country, and I forget which, because she talked about several experiences and different things she did in the country. And they had found that while the intention of creating peace in a particular country, that it seemed to, while they were doing the intention, rile up, it then came down, and the following month was at an all-time low of incidents of war. This book is just proving more of the science of mind, or what science of mind already knew is truth, right? What came first? Truth, and then the philosophies about how to use those spiritual principles. In The Power of Intention, at the end of the book, she basically talks about how she has gathered typically groups of 8 to have each individual come up with an intention, and then to have them do something that she calls power up, which is a little bit like a science of mind treatment. That is, first of all, clear, breathe, become present, and then get clear, not just on like trying to force it with your mind, but moving yourself with all your senses into the intention. So let's say you have somebody in the circle whose intention is better relationship with their spouse. And so she basically, with the group, has them move into all creating the intention of that feeling, of that seeing, of that knowing, of that hearing. And they do that for 10 minutes. And then they go away and they come back and do that again. Now, if you've been a part of the Science of Mind philosophy, and of course we have many practitioners here who have practiced and taken 3 years of the Science of Mind, more than 3 years of the Science of Mind philosophy, we understand that when we are all one, there is no place that God is not. And today's language is the law of attraction. By the law of attraction, we are just a channel of energy that allow with consciousness to place our intention and focus, and therefore move the energy through us as a channel. And even the flutter of a butterfly makes a difference around the world. Hence, by knowing, and she literally says in the book, okay, yes, center, breathe, bring yourself in, and you must believe. You must believe. Many of the spiritual sages have said that. It is done unto you as you believe. Not just what you want to believe. What do you really believe? And you may not know exactly what you really believe because it may have been a seed planted in you when you were 5 years old. But you have the power to move that block of that belief, that false belief, let it dissolve and come back into alignment with the truth of your being. In the book it says, the greatest discovery of McIntaggart's experiences is that group intention has a reciprocal mirror effect, not only for transforming the recipient who had the intention, but also reflecting back to the senders. Her experience, based on the data that she gathered, was that in that group of 8, the other 7 felt like their life was changing, and yet their intention was focused on somebody else. And she goes on in the book to say that as she tried to discover scientifically, so what is it that makes this work? She discovered that it was people praying for other people's intentions that made the change. Because we're all one. There is no separation. The good intention that you focus on for someone else comes right back at you. And so now I want to take this into the context of love and the earth. Love sometimes when we're younger is sort of this quid pro quo, like I give to you, you give to me. I say thank you, you say thank you back. I say I love you, I say I love you too. But you may put love out to somebody who you may not feel deserves the love, but it's going to come back to you. Maybe not through that channel at that particular time or with that particular circumstance, but it's going to mirror back to you. And if a group of 8 can make a difference for someone's intention, what can we do as a community to set an intention for healing ourselves and healing the earth? The truth is already there. It's us dissolving how we see ourselves as separate, how we live our lives based on every choice that we make, what you eat, what you consume, how you do transport. Every decision of every day, you can ask yourself, am I loving and appreciating the earth? So what I want to do now is move into the healing meditation, asking this community to focus on, again, dissolving that which is the untruth, knowing the truth of wholeness and perfection, surrounding yourself with the love. When I asked you, how are you feeling loved? Is to move yourself into that space of feeling that love, and then surrounding Mother Earth, and particularly the East Coast of the United States. Are we ready? If you will center yourselves, and if you can lower the lights and the background music. We come into the recognition and we center ourselves in this breath, in the air that we breathe. In the truth and understanding that as I breathe out the carbon dioxide, nature takes that in as life. And then through its process, through its love, through nature's givingness, transforms that carbon dioxide to oxygen. And then that oxygen allows us to breathe. We become conscious and aware that indeed the divine circles of life the ecosystems that work together in perfect harmony. Live right here, right now, in each one of us, and expands our consciousness and the awareness of the ecosystems that are working together for Mother Earth, our home. And I'm knowing that I am one with this earth, and as I recognize the love that lives around me so that I may be sustained, I am also aware that my love, me being the channel of love, that I focus my intention on healing this earth, healing our understanding of the truth, moving into the appreciation, the humbleness of recognizing the sacred life that lives in my breath, that lives in Chico, that lives on the East Coast. We use our channel, our intention, our visual sensations, our feeling sensations to imagine love and peace, healing, surrounding the East Coast, surrounding the hurricane, the call of Mother Earth to pay attention. Love me. Love me. For I have loved you. Recognize my call. Recognize that we are one. Recognize that love is the reason why. The love of the universe gives and gives and gives. And so we open our hearts, we open our minds, we open our presence and our being to knowing this truth. As we take this moment to recognize, to digest, to allow that deep understanding of this truth. I'm knowing that by the power of each individual here, by recognizing, by the power of our word, by the power of our intention, that we are allowing the healing, moving the hurricane, by answering the call to Mother Earth. Yes, I hear you. Yes, as I walk, each step I take, I recognize the love that is mirroring back to me, the love that is supporting me in the air, in the food, in all aspects of my being, moving this love, allowing and expanding my own understanding. And I may speak the first word, but in the first person. But for each individual here, again, I know by the power of my word and those aligning with this truth that there is movement, there is understanding, there is channeling the energy and knowing that this love is making a difference for each one of us and as one for everything beyond. And so in deep gratitude, I allow this to be so, knowing that indeed it is already done and now we have recognized that truth, letting it be. And together we affirm by saying, and so it is.